Welcome, everyone. Welcome this evening as we continue our program on NEP orientation and sensitization. Today, we're going to have two sessions, one on skill development and the other one a continuation of the Indian knowledge systems. So you've already been introduced to Professor Narayan Sharma, who spoke to us earlier about on the topic of holistic and multidisciplinary disciplinary education, providing us an ecological perspective. Today, he's going to address the topic of skill development, focusing on soft skills. Thanks, Professor Sharma, for making the time. Uh, you can start the presentation.
A very good evening to all of you. Uh, so the topic that I'm going to discuss today is called the soft skill development. So a disclaimer first. I've been doing. I'm not an expert in this domain, but what I'm doing is like a, bits and pieces work with my students, and through interacting with them, and after looking at them and analyzing their aptitude. So I thought I put all this together. So this is kind of a part of my teaching also. But a disclaimer that I'm not a good expert in this topic. But anyway, I'm going to share some of the uh, things that I have learned during this course of time while interacting with my students. So let's first start with there are two skills. One is called the hard skill, and another is called soft skill. So hard skill is very easy to understand. So, but before that, the skill, the definition of skill is that it's an ability to do something well. And hard skills are technical competences that an individual possesses. For example, this is the kind of a skill that gains through years of education and practical hands-on applications. And hard skills are quantitative in nature and can be measured. Uh, for example, these are so I'm just putting one example here. So Raja, who is a 10th standard student, can do any complicated sum in uh, mathematics in no time. And similarly, Padma, a 10th standard student, has a very good grasp of science concept. She can even solve complex problems in science very easily. So we can say that Raja and Padma's skills in mathematics and science usually they drive them to choose engineering and medicine respectively. And in due course of time, Raja completed his BTech from IIT, and Padma completes her MBBS from the EMS. So, in terms of hard skills, both of this engineering and the medical skills can be called hard skills, which they have learned through years of say learning. And their skills are quantitative, meaning you can uh, see the skills in terms of their grades, their marks, and the percentages. And their skills are also comparable. Uh, in other words, hard skills are the technical abilities required to do a particular job or perform a specialized task. For example, a machinist must have the skills, know how to read a very complex technical diagram, and then they shape metals to exact specification by using various equipments. In very importantly, the hard skills are very vital to get into the employment. Uh, so this is where I think most of our whenever we give a lot of emphasis in our curriculum, so we actually put a lot of emphasis on the hard skills. However, hard skills alone might not suffice to survive successfully. Therefore, we must have soft skills in the curriculum or while interacting with our students, we must encourage them to say hone their soft skills too. While the term hard skills or technical skill is relatively straightforward concept, but the soft skills are somehow a little bit vague, and it is little bit difficult to pin down the exact definitions. And this refers to a diverse range of abilities. So let's delve into what are these soft skills are. So soft skills are, I think some of you have already guessed, are generally interpersonal competencies that also understood as an individual set of social skills and personal attributes and are more difficult to define due to their subjectivity, and therefore it, it is very difficult to measure the soft skill, unlike the hard skills where we can measure in terms of percentage or degrees or other such things. Soft skill refers to a broad group of skills, behavior, and the personal qualities that enable individual to function efficiently in their environment. So this is important because it has been said that hard skills are important to get employment, and soft skills are important to sustain that kind of employment. And in fact, not only the sustain but to flourish in the chosen area, uh, chosen field. Have effective relationship, carry out their work professionally, and achieve their goal. Soft skills are excellent complement. So I would say that if one students or someone possesses the hard skills and they also have the soft skills, they can be a complementary to each other. So it's a therefore we say that is excellent complement to the traditional hard skills at university due to their significant role in the current context. So I'll talk by giving few example how these skills are important in the current context. So the example that we discussed previously, Raja and Padma. So I'm just bringing that example again here. So Raja, who did a BTech and graduate from the IIT, has problem in being assertive, and his friends you generally bulldoze him. While Padma's professional skills are far more superior, she had has difficulty in managing her times. So therefore, the Raja's non-assertiveness and Padma's inefficient management of her time can be regarded as the lack of soft skills. And lack of such a skill is detrimental to the professional and the personal success. So soft skills are as important. So the book that I referred, the Bhatnagar and Bhatnagar, who said that this is even more important than the technical skills to the success of an individual. Uh, However, so as we already discussed, is that one can achieve the synergy if one has the combination of both hard and the soft skills. So why the emphasis on the soft skills nowadays? Uh, because university now are aware that having an adequate level of education and training not only implies a certain mastery of the content of a given syllabus, students also need to develop the necessary skill to access the job market fully. And in most of the cases in the job market, apart from the hard skills, so they actively search for candidate who possesses soft skills, and these candidates are a natural choice in most of the job markets nowadays. According to Robles, employers consider social skill a significant important attribute for job seekers, demanding that their new employees' soft skills are as well consolidated as their hard skills, given that current job position requires additional quality previously not demanded. So, in this very competitive era, just possessing the hard skill is not enough. The employer or job seekers or in any field, along with the hard skills, the employers actively seek uh, that the employees has a lot of soft skills. Employers and academic institutions are slowly becoming aware of the need to equip individuals with the competencies, skills, and the knowledge that will not only facilitate their incorporation into the job market after their studies, but also support their professional development throughout their career. So, as I told you, the hard skill will help you get a job, whereas the soft skill is will help you develop as a professional. So, and scale new heights in your career so that they can successfully adapt to changes in the job markets. Soft skills are required by an individual not only to enter into workplace but also to sustain oneself in the workplace as they help in taking proper decisions. Uh, the soft skill help in handling interpersonal relationship, and if a candidate or employees possess the soft skill, they can communicate with others properly and efficiently, and they can also, if they have all these skills or an attribute, they can also gain professional development. And ultimately, it's increasing the employability skill of the students. So along with the, so that's why I'm putting a lot of emphasis on soft skills along with the hard skills, because if students uh, from a university or any institute, they pass out with both these skills, their chances of getting employment is much higher. So I'd like to do a soft, like a short exercise here, and request you if you can please list some of the examples of the soft skills that you can think of. So you can just drop your responses on the chat so that I can see. So when I say about the soft skill, so what kind of soft skill do you think, or what kind of soft skill that comes into your mind? Yeah, Sachin, uh, overall personality, public speaking, yeah, coordination ability, team spirit, excellent. Writing skills, yeah. So writing skills, I still considered as little bit a hard skill, but yeah, leadership, excellent. Okay, so communication skill, overall personality, public speaking, coordination ability, team spirit, writing skills, yeah, leadership, yeah. I think you got the point. So what are the hard skills? So let me give you the list of all the hard, soft skills. Uh, or if this may not be the exhaustive list, but some of the very important soft skills are emotional skill. So one very important skill that we often ignore is the listening skill. Communicate. Someone already told about the communication skill. Team building is yeah. Team. Someone told about the team spirit and team building skill. Leadership skills. Problem solving skills. Very important skill. One very important skill is the time management skill. Persuasive skills. So how you persuade someone. Then negotiation, because a lot of the time we are increasingly facing conflicting situations, and how we can negotiate. And then there are also conflict management skill, analytical thinking skills, not in terms of very hard kind of an analysis, but the approach of how we think. And being assertive, not being overtly aggressive or non assertive, but how we can be very assertive. Then at the feedback skills, which are also part of the soft skill. Counseling skills. I think nowadays the mental health is one of the emerging as one of the very serious issues, particularly in academics. So how we can, an educator, so how we can use this skill and try to understand the problems of the students. Presentation skills, mentoring, flexibility, self-awareness, and these are some of the examples of the soft skills. So I told you, this may not be the exhaustive list of all these soft skills, but these are some of the examples of soft skills, and we are going to discuss some of these soft skills in subsequently. Uh, so one very important soft skill is the communication skill, or the we can say this art of the connection. So at the core of the soft skill lies the mastery of communication, and these skills form the bedrock for effective interactions and involve both verbal and non-verbal communications. So we put a lot of emphasis on the verbal communications, but remember, it is also equally important that we should also hone some of the non-verbal, or we should try to understand or read some of the non-verbal messages, because most of the time a student may not talk, but from their non-verbal cues, I think we can get some of the messages. They encompasses not only the words we use, but also how we convey them through our body language and the tone of voice. There are a lot of studies that has been done on the body languages, and also the tone of the voice. So most of the misunderstanding happens. So that's why perhaps uh, while interacting with you, I'm not able to see a single face, but it's like a talking to a screen, you know. I may not see what kind of body language you have right now. Uh, so I think that prevent sort of interactions, the more effective interaction with you all. I think that is one of the limitation, or I would say the disadvantage of the online teaching. So had this been in a hall, I think I would have received more responses to the question that I asked previously. And exceptional communication skills empower individual to convey their ideas with precision, actively listen to other, and foster the building of robust and enduring relationship. So most of the conflicting situations arises, or most of the misconceptions about some issues arises because of the lack of good communication. So I think all of you must have faced this kind of situation in your life, uh, and so that is all about the communication skill. So if you really ask me, uh, one of the most important soft skill that you should hone, I would definitely say uh, ask you to hone the emotional skills or the empathetic skills. So this is extremely important in the current scenario, when students are going through a lot of mental, they are facing a lot of mental issues. So I have faced in my classes, so I was able to detect the mental issues problems in many of the students, and so that's why I said that this particular skill is very important. So, sensing what other feel without their saying so capture the essence of empathy. Empathy required being able to read another's emotion. It means sensing and responding to a person's unspoken concern and the feelings. So, at the highest level, empathy is to understand the issue or concern that lie behind another's feeling. The key to knowing their emotional terrain requires an intimate familiarity with both. So I think it's very important that we should have a very intimate familiarity with our own self. And I think if we know our own self, then I think we can uh, develop these emotional skills much better. To be tuned to others' emotional cues, we need to put aside our own emotional agendas for the time being. And this competency is especially important for teachers. So I think some of the time, I think you must have faced this kind of problems, and instead of being overwhelming with the responses of or our own emotional problems, I think it is important to keep aside our own emotional agenda for a time being, and then listen to others. And I think that can be called as the empathetic teacher. So empathy represents the foundational skills for all the social competency important in every performance, especially in teacher. So this include understanding other, so sensing what others are feelings, acknowledging their perspectives, and taking active interest in their concerns. And then the second is the service orientations. So that means anticipating, recognizing, and the fulfilling institutional needs. Third is the developing others. So I think we should actively seek students' developmental needs and bolster their attitude. And leverage diversity, because we are increasingly finding diverse, diversity in not only in terms of the students, but also diversity in terms of their views. So I think it's cultivating this kind of opportunity through diverse people is very important. And the awareness, being aware of the social, political, and emotional currents in the institutions and organization. The two most important competency required in teachings, as I already told, is the emotional or supportive communications and the art of listening. So I'll talk about the art of listening in the next slide. But I think unless we listen, it is very difficult for us to empathize. So it has been said that a finely tuned ear is at the heart of the empathy. So listening well is essential to success at work, and those who cannot or do not listen come across as indifferent or uncaring and making others less communicative. Uh, so listening is also an art. So the first step is to make others aware that one is open to listening. So I think we really need to develop skill of listening, and I'm telling you, it's not that easy. It requires a lot of patience, and teachers who have this open door policy, who appears approachable or go out of their way to hear what people say, embody this competence. And naturally, those who seek easy to talk to are those who get to hear more. So perhaps you have seen this in your institutions. So the students will share many things to the teachers who listen to them without uh, making any judgment. Uh, so active listening skill is our access to understanding. So conscious listening always create understanding, and only with conscious listening we can things can happen. So if you have a time, I have given this link here. It's an excellent TED talk. It's a 7-minute TED talk by I think Julian. So if you can listen to this talk, he talks about some of the ways by which we can hone our listening skill. So here and he emphasized around, I think, 5 simple exercises in order to improve our conscious listening. First, he said that we need to spend some of our time in the silence. So he suggested around 3 minutes a day. just go to some place, very quiet place, and spend 3 minutes there. And second is very interesting. So he said you can start a mixture, and you can listen uh, to those uh, uh, sound, and try to see the patterns in this. Okay, and so he was saying that how many individual channels that mix that you are listening to, and you can do this in a beautiful places like if you go to a lake, and you can also hone your listening skill by asking how many birds am I hearing, where are they, and where are those ripples, uh, things like that. So it's a great exercise for improving the quality of your listening. A third, what he said was just listening to some of the mundane sound that and enjoy them. And the fourth, he said that we need to change our listening positions. That involves moving your listening positions to be appropriate to what you are listening to. For example, from the passive to the active, and from the reductive to the expensive, and from being very critically listening to the very empathetic listening. And fifth, he said we should follow RASA, the acronym. R means receive, which means you pay attention to the person, and A stands for appreciate. That means making little noises like okay, oh, that kind of a thing. And third is summarize. The word so is very important in communication. So when you pay attention, when you appreciate some of the things that the other person is saying, and then when you summarize, I think that means you are listening to that person. And at the end, you should ask questions. So that means if you follow this rasa rule, that means receive, appreciate, summarize, and ask. That means you are paying a lot of attention to what the other people are saying. So I think if you can keep doing this time and again, perhaps you will become a very, very good listener. And these are some of the skills and some of the examples. So I'm not going into too much into this one. This is almost the same thing that we discussed. Uh, and the another skill that I think some of you have also put them in the chat is the teamwork and the collaboration and the power of cooperation. So increasingly, uh, we need to work in a team, and increasingly, I think a lot of the work that we do require the collaboration, and that's why I think how we are going to work in a team and how we are going to work in a collaborative projects are very important. And here, not only your hard skill come into play, but the most important skill that you need to hone when you are working in a team and the collaborative project is the soft skill. So working collaboratively required not only technical competence but also interpersonal skills that foster a sense of unity within a team. It's about understanding the dynamics of the group interactions and being able to compromise, share credit, and appreciate the contribution of others. So that's why I think most of you give some of the sometimes you give assignment, and some of those assignments are the group assignments. So, for example, recently I have given them the group projects. So I just wanted to see how they tackle, how they come out with one question from the observations, and how as a group they come out with the study design that can be used to answer that particular question. And one student asked me, "Sir, we need should we ask 4 questions?" I said, "No, you cannot ask 4 questions." But why I did that? I deliberately asked them to ask only one question, because uh, when they do observation, perhaps they will come out with four different say questions, but how they are tackling that say conflicting ideas. So so which question is better? So I think they will then work as a team and come out with one particular question. So I think we also need to encourage them to work in the teamwork and how they negotiate the conflicting issues. So and whenever you whenever I assign group projects, so I try to give emphasis on the group dynamics. So within the students, or not all students are equal. So there are certain dynamics with them. I think we need to assign the students in certain teams in such a way that they are able to say work, or even there are some competing completely different views, how they negotiate those views. Universities are not oblivious to society's needs, specifically to the demand of companies for students and future workers to be trained in soft skills. So, over the past few years, universities have manifested their concern with the students' mastery of soft skills, specifically those related to learning to work in teams. So that's why. So whenever we take interviews in some of the projects elsewhere, so we try to see whether that particular person will fit into the team or not. So if he or she is not, say, uh, despite of having the lot of degrees, so if he or she is not, say, fitting into that uh, criteria, so we generally ignore them from the from being employed. So recruiters are looking for employees with soft skill as they are aware of the link between the former and the successful maintenance and execution of a job. So currently, adverts frequently list soft skill, including teamwork, as a requirement. So if you see any advertisement which is published recently, or some of the projects, so that the one of the criteria is that the candidate be should be able to say work as a team member. At least in my field, I have seen that. So effective teamwork and collaboration in the workplace involve working with others on projects while maintaining a collegial, positive, and helpful attitude. So for team to be successful, their members need to practice reflexivity, which is a positive embracing of changes. So there are these six different ways by which we can do that. How to cooperate with each other, not to say not to let other down and things like that. So we can do this by asking several prompts. So some of the questions or some of the statements are given below in under each heading. So, for example, in order to demonstrate the reflexivity, so we can say sounds like we need to change our plan, and something like let's change the direction we were going in based on their new information, something like that. So I think we need to use this kind of we need to say populate our vocabulary with this kind of statement in order to work in a team and in a to demonstrate the power of cooperation. And then another very important skill that I strongly suggest you to uh, uh, inculcate in your students is the problem solving skills. A positive problem solving skill is a positive attitude towards any given problem. It's your demonstration of the willingness to solve problems, plus a belief that you will be effective at doing so. So, for example, when you want to verbalize problem and challenges, opportunities, so you can say, okay, I understood what you need. So let's see what we can come up with. So rather than dismissing a problem, here is the acknowledgement of the problem, and here is the proactive role that a person or this statement is reflecting. and so on. When you want to verbalize the belief that you will be successful at solving the problems, you can say, with the right targeted research, I'm sure you can figure it out. So I think we need to have this very positive attitudes towards any given problem. So I understand that most of the time, too much of positivity also not good. I think we need to be a little bit skeptic, but I think there are ways of say putting those skepticism in a little bit positive way as well. One another very important life is soft skills or the life skills I would say is the effective time management principle. So I've listed some of these say tips that you can follow. What you can do is set your priorities. I think of everyone. I'm just giving this as an indicative. This may not. I think you may be already doing this, or you may you have done this and you have failed in implementing this one. But I'm just putting those in the slides. So set your priorities, list your major goals for the next few months, rate each goal and ask, what are the most important things for me to do? And second, what you can do is list what needs to be done this week in order to reach your top priority goal. Then rate each activity. Then observe how you spend your time and make a master schedule of fixed activities for the week. Keep a running list of assignments you need to get done this week. Make a to-do list for every day. So in this way, I think it's very you can budget your time very well, and you can manage your time very well. And follow your to-do list. Reward yourself once you say successfully complete this to-do list, and then you can reward yourself by whatever means you want, and put first thing first. Uh, so this is a very important matrix that I wanted to share. This is called the time management matrix. So there are two things here. One is either your task is important or not important, or either your task is urgent or not urgent. And based on this, we can divide this into the four quadrant. So in the first quadrant, if you say there are important and urgent, such as some of the crisis situations, some of the very pressing problems, or for example, there is a deadline to submit the project, or deadline to submit a manuscript, or deadline to submit, say, a question paper. So I think it will come into this quadrant. And then in quadrant two, which is important but not urgent, so things like prevention, production capability activities, relationship building, recognizing new opportunities, planning, and the recreation. So these are not urgent, but these are important. You can put them into the quadrant two. And third is not very important, but these are urgent. For example, interruptions, some calls, some emails, some reports, some meetings, some popular activities. So that are seems like a very urgent things, but these are usually not very important. And the four quadrants are not important and they're not urgent. So, for example, trivia, some of the busy work, some email, some phone calls, time wasters, or pleasant activities. So this can be ignored, and you can budget your time, or you can manage your time according to say this quadrant. So if you put your say task in this way, perhaps you will be able to say budget your time efficiently and effectively and you can manage your time well, and you can be more productive as a result. So perhaps you will be able to publish more, perhaps you will be able to submit more reports, things like that. Then the third is the assertion is very important in the as a soft skill. In animal that I I work. They whenever they confront with a problematic situation, they come up with two responses: either to fight or to flight. Either they fight or they just say run away. So, whereas whenever we face a situation, we've confronted with a situation, uh, we have a three behavioral responses, and these are assertive, aggressive, and then non-assertive. So the main characteristic of these three behavioral responses are as follows. For example, assertive means stating clearly what we like to happen, but without a demand that it's so. So this is a very important soft skills that you can hone. So that means you can state it very clearly without being too demanding. Whereas aggressive is making sure that we do get what we want, no matter what the other person feels. So that is the very, very aggressive response. And the third is the non-assertive. That means doing nothing and hoping or trying to get what we want in the roundabout way. So these are the three behavioral responses in humans whenever we face any situation. So let us discuss these three behavioral aspects. So assertion refer to a behavior that involves the following. For example, standing up for your own rights in such a way that you do not violate another person's right. Then expressing your needs, wants, opinions, feelings, and beliefs in direct, honest, and appropriate way. So these assertive behaviors involve these characteristics. So the assertiveness is based on the belief that in any situation you have need to be made, the other person have need to be made, you have rights, so do others. You have something to contribute, and so do others. So these are some of the beliefs system. So if some person is very, very assertive, you can say scan him or her, and you can find that this kind of a characteristics that person, or this kind of a belief system that that particular person say believe. So the aim of assertion is to satisfy the need and wants of both parties in the situation, and this is called the win-win situation. Where is the non-assertion in workplace, or the non-assertive behaviors that involve the following? For example, failing to stand up for your own right, or doing so in such a way that others can easily disregard you. Expressing your need, wants, opinion, feeling, and belief in apologetic, diffident, and self-effacing ways. And third is failing to express honestly your need, wants, opinion, feelings, and belief. So these are the non-assertive behavior. And this non-assertive behavior, this belief, is based on this thing like the person's needs and wants are more important than your own. So that means other person's needs are more important than your own, and the other person has right but you do not have. So this is entirely a non-assertive belief. And third is you have little or nothing to contribute. The other person has a great deal to contribute. So therefore, the aim of non-assertion is to avoid conflict and to please others. So, what are the aggressive behavior, or the aggressive response? Is the standing up for your own right, but doing so in such a way you violate the right of others. So, this is very typical of the aggressive behavior. Ignoring or dismissing the needs, wants, opinion, feelings, or belief of others. And third is the expressing your own needs, wants, and opinion, which may be honest or dishonest in much inappropriate way. That this includes in the tone of the voice, or your body languages, things like that. And the aggressive behavior is based on the belief that your own needs, wants, and opinion are more important than others. And you have rights, but others do not have. And you have something to contribute, others have little or nothing to contribute. I think that this behavior is based on this kind of a belief. So I think you can visualize some of the situations where you are in, and you can see that the other person responding in these three different ways. Therefore, the aim of aggression is to win, if necessary, at the expense of other. So these are some of the verbal aspect of these three behaviors. So uh, for the non-assertive behavior, so there are these long rambling statements and fill-in words, for example, maybe, that kind of things, and then frequent justification, apologies or permission seekers, and few I statement, self put down, I am hopeless, and phrases that dismiss own needs, for example, not important really. So these are some of the verbal aspect of non-assertive behavior. And the assertive behavior statement that are brief, clear, and to the point. I statement, for example, I would like, so it always start with this, or some mostly start with this. Distinction between fact and opinion. Suggestion not weighed with advice. No, should, or ought. Questions to find out the thoughts, opinion, and wants of other. Constructive criticism without blame or assumptions. So these are some of the verbal aspect of assertive behavior. And the third is the aggressive behavior, where you use excessive of I statement, you boastfully say mine most of the time. Then there are maybe very, very threatening questions, request as instructions or threat. So this is one of the very important that even someone is requesting, those is, request come as an instruction or the threat. Heavily weight advice in the form of should and ought, assumptions, there are a lot of assumptions, and blame put on others. So these are some of the verbal aspect of aggressive behavior. So I'll give you an example that encompass these three behavior. So the situation is that since there is a student who submitted a manuscript, a scholar who submitted a manuscript, and you are taking that unsatisfactory manuscript back to the scholar who produced it. And how is the assertion? For example, the student name is Sarita. So you can say, Sarita, I would like you to redo this manuscript as there are several mistakes in it. So if you can see, this statement is very, very assertive. So it's not very aggressive or very, dismissive. And the non-assertion, so you find an excuse not to take the manuscript back, or you say, I know it is any chance at all you could find a spare time to just change one or two small things on this manuscript for me. And the third aggressive response is that I do not know how you got the nerve to give me this sort of stuff for reviewing. It is full of mistakes. You can see that there is the same situation, but people can produce three different kind of responses: the assertion, non-assertion, and the aggression one. The Another very important soft skill that I think is important is the conflict management and negotiation skill. So what is conflict? So conflict is defined as a form of relating or interacting where we find ourselves either as individuals or groups under some perceived threat to our personal or collective goal. These goals are usually to do with our interpersonal wants, and this perceived threat might be either real or imagined. This definition has three elements that explain the nature of conflict. The first is conflict is seen as an involving a perceived threat. So the threat may not be actual; it can be a perceived threat. The perceived is an important word here, as the basis of conflict may be false or indirect in the sense that there is no real clash or interest or goal between the parties, but the parties nevertheless perceive and therefore experience conflict. So most of the time this happen. So we think some of the uh, some of the time that there is a conflict, but if you analyze those conflict very carefully, you will find that this may be some of the perceived threat. This may not be the actual threat. Secondly, conflict is experienced at the interpersonal level, that is, in our interaction with people. And third is the dimension of conflict, that is relating to our interpersonal wants, help link conflict to the idea of personal and social experience. And all these elements are useful in understanding the nature of conflict. So, there are many ways by which we can resolve the conflict. For example, we can start by avoiding or denying the conflict. So, some people deny or avoid the conflict. Such people hope that the problem will recede. Usually, it doesn't. So, this is a bad approach. This kind of resolution style doesn't help the individuals. So, we have seen like many people avoid or deny the existence of the conflict, and they will say that okay, I'll not talk, or I'll not say raise those issues, and those issues will resolve automatically. But most of the time, this those issues doesn't resolve automatically. So here is an example. So Ram has a conflict with Sudhakar. Ram, instead of resolving the conflict, is hopeful that the problem will vanish on its own in the due course of time. He doesn't do anything actively to deal with the problem. So the Ram approach will only end up in sending wrong signal to Sudhakar. Hence, avoiding or denying the conflict doesn't take anybody anywhere. So the second conflict resolution style is the giving in. That means many people they prefer to give in rather than fight. Even though they are right, they give in rather than fight. Sometimes people are martyred, scared, or seeking appreciation, etc. In any case, this is another bad approach because it is unfair, it generates no creative solution, and usually such an accommodator remain very unhappy. So here is an example. So whenever Radha is confronted with a problem with her supervisor, so she tends to give in instead of staying in a dialogue or resolving it. She keeps brooding over the issue, spoils her psychological health, and gets into depression. Hence, giving in is equally a bad approach to resolving the conflict. The third is the blaming others. Some people get mad and blame the other person. So that they will say, "You ignored my authority," or like things like, "You are totally unfair," or "You have hurt me," etc. And such a conflict become an unpleasant battle in which they must get their ways and win at any cost. So this is also a terrible approach because it stops all constructive thinking. It is unfair because it is deceitful, it is threatening, and it is most of the time it is chauvinistic, and this produces very lasting hostility. So instead of a conflict being resolved, so it can escalate the conflict, and the conflict can last long. Here is an example of blaming others. So Dr. Rao has had problems with his project assistant, and he expects his assistant to listen to him and abide by his words and in any cost. He doesn't communicate his ideas and is not transparent. He holds an illogical view that his assistant should get things done without his explanation. He ends up in blaming his assistant for most of the time. This kind of resolution style is detrimental to the human relationship. I think this is also very important when you run projects with a lot of team members, I think if we start blaming others most of the time, I think that is not going to solve the purpose, and because of that, the project or any such ventures suffered a lot. So this will not produce the desired result. And the another conflict resolution style is the compromise. So some people appear to seek a compromise. That is, this is the most common thing where we'll say that, well, let's find the middle ground and some work out an agreement. Sometimes a part of this approach is subtle, but skillfully trying to win more ground than your opponent. The objective becomes trying to prove that one is clever. Thus, political or social pressure, misrepresentation, and so on may slip in, rather than simply seeking an optimal solution for both sides. So, here is an example. Subbarao and Ramarao have an ongoing first author dispute. Instead of looking at win-win solution, each of them would like to win at the expense of the other party. Hence, compromise is a better alternative in this kind of a situation. So, for example, if they can think and they sit together and discuss, they can probably say that both authors have contributed equally, though the order of the authors may change, but there are provisions of saying that both first and second author have contributed. And the last approach of the conflict resolution is the win-win approach. So win-win negotiation is a very, very complex process for solving conflict, uh, a way of fairly settling a disagreement. And I have put a lot of emphasis in this sentence. So the win-win approach is not getting the best deal for me. It is the finding the best solution for us. I think this should be the core of the any win-win approach. The conflict could involve administration or departmental colleagues or anyone. It involves respectfully discussing as equals the general situation with the other person so that one can understand his her situation and interest. An integrative solution requires both sides to carefully identify how their preferences are different and how they are similar. So it's a very important thing. So if rather than focusing too much on the differences, so if you can say find or build a solution on the similarities, for example, doing similar ways of doing things or similar values or similar desired outcome, I think we can resolve the conflict very well. So it's not looking at the differences rather than the similarities. So and how we can leverage the similarities and we can do a win-win kind of a situation. Both parties must view the conflict as the problem to be solved by them in the best way possible, not just fairly but optimally, even creatively. Both parties should be open and honest, not deceptive and manipulative. Trust must be built. Both parties work hard to develop a wise, workable, and the win-win solution. So this is easier said than done because most of the time, so even if you are, so if you look at the game theory, so this may not be a very good approach, uh, uh, in particularly from the animal perspective. But so these are the things that anyway you can do in order to you may not get the best of this deal, but you'll find the best solution for the both parties. Uh, so so these are some of the soft skill that I discuss that can help you in your academics or in your professional growth as well. And I'd like to conclude by putting some of the important insights from this discussion or this lecture. While hard skills are undeniably important, it is crucial to recognize that soft skills are equally vital and, when combined, can lead to a powerful professional toolkit. And second is the soft skills are considered excellent complements to traditional hard skills at university due to their significant role in the current context. While the term hard skills or technical skills is a relatively straightforward concept, soft skills are more difficult to pin down, referring as it does to a very diverse range of abilities. And very importantly, soft skills can enhance employability, and it can by developing soft skill, we can improve interpersonal communications, which are uh, very important in addition to the hard skills. Soft skills are essential for enhancing leadership abilities. So, if you analyze some of the skills that leadership or person who in the leadership position have, you will find that apart from say their hard skills, so they they possess numerous soft skills that make them acceptable or that make them more assertive. Soft skills are gradually making into their way into the curriculum because of the realization that in addition to hard skills, so in order to survive, thrive, and prosper in the area of their chosen field, we really need the soft skill, and that's why soft skills are gradually making into the curriculum. And finally, soft skills improve the learning environment and promote positive interactions between teachers and students. So, if we employ some of these soft skills, this can greatly improve the environment, the teaching learning environment in your institutions or organizations, and that can actually promote a lot of positive interactions between the team members. So these are some of the references based on which I prepared these presentations. So this Bhatnagar and Bhatnagar, that is effective communication and soft skill, is a excellent book that you can go through. And then there are other books, and I have also consulted one website in order to prepare this presentation. And with this, thank you so much. I stop here, and I'll be happy to take few questions. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Professor Sharma, for that very interesting talk, highlighting a lot of very practical use cases for soft skills that be useful to not only educators, but I'm sure to their students as well. I'm sure it is a worthy topic to cover at the undergraduate or postgraduate level
Yeah,
as people, prepare to go into the workforce.
yeah.
So now we will take questions. Participants can unmute themselves and ask any questions. You can also type your questions in the chat.
So I'll be sharing these slides. I think
Right, right. Yeah,
yeah.
it will
So
be quite useful.
the participants can actually go through those useful papers,
Yeah.
uh, books. I think that will really help. So I strongly suggest, I think, all of you to go through it. So initially, I also had reservation that what are the soft skills? Are they actually important or not? But believe me, I think it really help developing you as a effective communicator or a good teacher.
No, when you go through these list of topics, you realize that these are the things we don't systematically think about often,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
we use
But
it often.
we do it. Yeah, you're right. We do not do it systematically. So we do it like sometime unconsciously. So, but we are doing it most of the time. But just the list itself says that there are so many things that we do, but we do not perhaps in a structured way.
So is this something that is sort of taught to the students in your university or
Uh,
formally at least?
Not really. I think some of the university does. They may have one or two module. When so we so there is one module called the communicating science.
Mm.
This is the skill enhancement course. So there, I think I teach this soft skills.
Yeah.
So I made a point to put one or two uh, presentations on the soft skills.
Mm.
And
So will we?
there is also short course that I did from Nehu,
Mm.
specifically on the soft skill.
I see. What is the acronym?
Uh, Nehu, the Northeastern Hill University, Meghalaya.
Yes. Okay. There's a hand raised from Dr. Nayak. Go ahead, Dr. Nayak.
Sir, can we add computational skill under the soft skill?
Sorry, I didn't.
Computational skill, software knowledge, can we add under it?
Most of the computational and software knowledge, uh, on a surface, I think it likes a soft skill, but soft skills are mostly the interpersonal skills. So what you are saying, I think, comes mostly under the hard skills, because computational is it requires certain understanding of numbers. I think that comes under the hard skills. So, for example, the presentation skill is also a soft skill. So that I didn't cover, because most of us know about the presentation, how to, when you do some of the work and how you present your work. So that comes under the soft skills, but I didn't. But computational, definitely it will come under the hard skill, because you need certain technical expertise in order to make sense of those data. You know.
Thank you, sir.
But that question sort of makes me realize, which I was thinking when you were presenting, that there is always components of hard and soft skills in various things.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's work in a conjunction. It's a complement
Right.
to each other. And I think the most successful, even most successful projects that I've seen, where I think uh, these are not explicitly said, but implicitly they are in. So all the like a successful team effort, right? If you see the dynamics, how the dynamics play into the team, I think they unknowingly, or it's unconsciously, so they go into the realm of the like cooperation and the team spirit. But
Right.
the product is the successful launch of, say, some projects or some discovery and all those things. Yeah.
Hmm. Like in this example of computational skill, I mean, of course, writing a code or adopting a proper algorithm is a very hard skill. But managing it in terms of how you document it or how you use various tools like GitHub to manage your project, that's probably soft skill. So usually, I think there's a mix of both, but largely it is a hard skill. I agree. There's a message in this chat asking for suggestions to improve soft skills, how they can be acquired.
Yeah.
I
So
think
I
it
think,
depends on the
yeah,
specific skill too. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll share this presentation. So I think there are a lot of interesting examples. Also, I think most of us have gone through those situations. So if you can go through those the text of these slides, I think we will you'll get to know about it. And also those books that I listed at the end. So these are excellent books in order to um you the one thing is, just like soft skills are just like any other skill, you need to practice it. So if you're not practicing the art of listening, so you'll not be able to hone it. So for example, uh, so we go to forest and we watch birds, and believe me, the 70% time the bird identification is done through the their call, their song, not by seeing them. So if I do not go and listen to those birds regularly, even if I'm like spending say hundreds of hours in computer listening to those birds, I think you need to actually go to the field and listen to the birds, and then you can identify this. So the soft skill, the important thing is that you need to implement this, or you can say respond to some of the situation that you faced from now onward, and you can be say, okay, whether I was assertive enough, uh, whether I was very aggressive. So was my tone better while dealing with certain situations? So I think it starts from there. Then you suddenly realize that, okay, so when you listen more and talk less, perhaps, and when you use those four things that I discuss, rasa, for example. So you'll see that this improve automatically. The people will start sharing their experiences much more than when you just listen and don't talk, or don't take part in the discussion. Many people just listen, but they do not take part in the discussion. Perhaps later on they can go and talk, but I think those four things are very very important. The rasa, receive, becoming, appreciate, and then follow up questions. So I think that make a lot of sense, that you are listening actively. Yeah, I'll share the presentation. Sure, Dr. Lina, I'll share that.
Okay, thanks a lot, Professor Narayan Sharma.